You're watching Training Camp with Adam Marburger, exclusively on CBT News.
Welcome to Training Camp, exclusively on CBT News. I'm your host, Adam Marburger. I'm a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm a black belt in F&I, and this show is designed to help automotive professionals enhance their operations to ultimately receive their black belt as well. Today, I've got a very special show. I'm here with a dear friend, Ed Roberts with Bozard Ford. Thank you so much, Ed, for coming into the studio and hanging out with us today.
Hey, thanks for having me. This will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I like to do first, before I really get into anything, we're definitely going to be talking all things Bozard here in a minute, but I want to talk about you. So I know when I was growing up in junior high and the teacher asked me what I want to be when I grow up, thought I wanted to be a pilot, a cook. I really thought I was going to be a chef one day. And then I ended up selling cars. And it wasn't my dream or aspiration, but it changed my life, right? So when you were younger, like what was your, what did you want to be, A, and B, how'd you end up in automotive?
I stumbled into automotive, and but the tie maybe had something to do with it because I thought it was cool to race cars. I like watching racing on television. So I thought, man, if I could just be a race car driver. And I think we all have a dream to either be a rock star or something like that, some kind of celebrity. So I guess there was that little bit of a tie to automotive, but then I just stumbled into it with hitting a job fair at my high school, and I had a bumpy road growing up, but all of us have a story and needed an opportunity, and I asked the guy for an opportunity, and he just happened to be a service director at a Ford store, and that didn't end up happening at his store, but it did propel me into a Ford store within weeks of that. So,
love that. How'd you end up Bozard? How did the road get you to there?
And we all go down different paths. When we land in the car business, we didn't expect to be there either. But when we didn't expect to be in the car business, we don't necessarily know where we're going to end up or whatever. You keep an open mind. And I worked for Ford Motor Company for a period of time after the dealership world, and came back into the dealership world, and then bounced around a few different states trying to find some places where maybe I wanted to live long term. And said there's no place like home, and moved back home about 17 years ago, and when I call home, North Florida. Yeah. And I landed at Bozard. What most people don't know, when I first came back to town, I cut my teeth in the automotive industry as a technician.
Okay.
And I came back to Bozard during the recession, or came back to Florida during the recession, and a friend of mine was running Bozard, and he says, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to wait till things turn around. I'll stock shelves at Walmart. And he says, no, you'll come down here and work for me. So I actually went back down, picked up the ranch again, and worked there for a year as a technician, and then stepped away and got back on the leadership journey, and came back 3 years later, and it's been off to the races since then.
Love that. Now, being a former technician, you ever under the hood? You ever fixing things anymore, or is that the past?
Not so much anymore. Yeah. I still like performance, so I mess with my own stuff, but outside of that, I don't.
Yeah. So let's talk about your store.
Yeah.
And you guys, you're a true powerhouse. I mean, you're in a town of just shy of 15,000 people, I believe, and you crank metal. So like, how are you guys able to do what you do in such a small community?
There's a lot of things. There's no one thing you put your finger on. There's a lot of things that really ties to that. And but we pride ourselves on being an experience type store. And so we want to offer a different experience. And any store you walk into, it doesn't matter the brand, they're always going to tell you we're different here. And there's some truth to that. Every store is different, and every store focuses on something different. We try to focus on experience, and we focus on it from the ownership experience. A lot of stores focus on that purchase and make a big deal of that. That purchase is a very short window, but that ownership experience is a lot wider window. So we really pay a lot of attention to the ownership experience, and then it compounds itself on the sales side. But yeah, we're in a small town of St. Augustine, Florida. The closest big town to me is Jacksonville. It's 30 miles north of me. We're in a town of about 15,000. The county is about 200,000. And last month we sold 947 units.
Oh my goodness gracious.
And well on track to match that again this month.
That's amazing.
So there is a lot of pump in, pump out stuff there for sure. People will travel some distance, not only to buy from us, but to service with us for that experience. We have a very large mobile operation as well. to make it convenient for those customers that we pump out to make it convenient for them to service with us as well.
Yeah, that's a lot of metal. That's a lot of metal you're pushing. You know, I want to talk about, personal development here for just a second. You can't get to the top without having some structure, some routines, having good habits. And obviously it's stuff I talk about filling your cup. Like, if my cup's not full and we're going to work together today, how the heck can I fill your cup? And so when it comes to your group, I mean, we could talk about service, sales, just the organization in general. What do you guys do as far as training? What are your expectations on training? Do you guys even invest in training at all? Or is it something that's really, really important and non-negotiable to you?
And training is non-negotiable. It's something we do. It's not something we did. And we're Bozard Ford Lincoln. We also have Bozard University. And it's a very structured platform as well. And anybody can go to it. It's bozardu.com. And there's the outlay for it. So if you want to look at that and structure yours that way, you certainly can. Anybody that wants to look at it and have that kind of platform. But we don't want to go hire retreads, because when you're hiring retreads, there's usually something that comes along with that. Now, sometimes people move and they do whatever, and we'll take everybody into consideration. But we want to grow our people. We want to instill the things that we want to instill with them, and talk about how all that stuff comes together, like you talked about with filling the cup. Attitude and effort's a lot of what we do. And sometimes people say, well, that's everything. Well, there's got to be something else that goes along with it, and that's what we really focus on, is casting our vision. So it's attitude and effort chasing a vision. Without that vision, you just create activity. So we do a good job of getting people to buy into that vision, and then we tie it to different elements. We call ourselves the best team on the planet, and it may not be because we have the best players, although we have some great players, but we play the best as a team. We don't have silos, and so everybody's supporting everybody. And then the other element that people can really latch onto is we have 5 questions that we answer, and one of those questions are, why do we exist? And we exist to enrich the lives of others. So not just our employees, but our families in our community, and all those things. And by taking care of our community, they can take care of us. We get to enrich our people's lives. We get to enrich our community's lives. And so you can ask anybody in our organization that question, why do you guys exist? And you would think that you would hear to sell and service cars. That's how we do it. But the reason we exist is to enrich the lives of others.
I love that. And that mindset's got you selling dang near 1,000 cars. Now I'm going to say something, because you're a service guy, fixed ops guy. I am an F&I guy, okay? And I was trained in my 20s, dang near, I spun, you might know my story, I'm pretty sure you do. I delivered 20,000 retail transactions. And I would say the first 7,000 or 8,000 transactions I did, I was trained by trainers, sell more, make more, overcome objections. They say this, you say that. And then I met the right person and was taught a different way, that it's about servant leadership. It's about empathy. It's about helping the customer. It's not about like getting as much gross on a service contract as possible. And this is what I learned. I changed my mindset. I want to hear your opinion. I believe that F&I's job, obviously we're here to secure the sale. Yes, we're here to make a profit. We're here to manage the department. But we're here to make sure our customer is happily engaged in service with F&I products that are valuable, that tie your customer to service, so service can do what they do well and bring the customer back. Why in the heck do you think as an industry we're not training F&I people on retention? Because I believe that the F&I manager plays a major role in retention going forward, back, and especially getting people back in service. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
It's the DNA of how we're built. When you say that, you understand why most focus, because they focus on the now. So we're wired in today's world to focus on the now. And the now is the gross that I can get today, rather than building the rapport, building the relationship, and understanding that person, understanding their needs, and offering them products that can that can enrich their life. When you offer them the right products, it's not selling. It's a service. We're providing a service to them. And those products bring them back together to where we can provide them the best service possible. Yeah. And then we can provide them the best service possible, then we're enhancing that ownership experience. Amen. And we enhance the ownership experience. We don't question what brand they're going to go shift to. They question, are they going to shift from an Explorer to an Expedition, or from an Aviator to a Navigator? You own that customer at that point. And a lot of times Sometimes you may not own both sides of that. You may have a split driveway. And I love split driveways because now they got a comparison. What do I get when I service this vehicle? What do I get when I service this vehicle? What do I get when I go to this store? Well, and when you have that, then that's your opportunity to win that driveway, and you can own both elements of it.
Yeah, I love that. Service, I'll tell you, I mean, I'm not going to say the dealership's name. I had 2 situations. I serviced my vehicle and had the best experience, red carpet treatment, insanity. My girlfriend Sylvia was in the service department where she was at for 3.5 hours the other day and was treated like complete crap. And she doesn't ever want to go back again. And there's just two ways to do it. You know, I'm going to ask you, what are your thoughts, as I've been talking to a lot of people about this, what are your thoughts on the F&I department getting friendly with service, getting to know the service writers, maybe communicating with techs to find out a little bit more about what are they working on and why did it fail and how much does that cost to have different conversations with consumers? What are your thoughts on that? I see a lot of dealers talk about doing it. I don't see a lot of dealers doing that. I try to train people to do that. Some do, some don't. I would love to hear your thoughts as a fixed ops savant.
Well, we're in manufacturing. I mean, that's what we do. We sell manufactured products. We may not be the one to manufacture them, but we're in manufacturing. And in manufacturing, you're going to run into obstacles. There's going to be things that happen. And the last thing you want to do is sell a customer a product that the first time they go to use it, they say, I don't know what you bought that for. So when those things tie together and you understand the elements of what both sides are going through, then you can complement each other. And then if they don't buy that product, the next time they come in, when they come in for service, then it's another conversation that you can have to carry them up to make sure they have the products that they need to cover their vehicle. So it's communicating so that both sides understand the needs of both sides and the needs of our customers. Yeah. Because we do want to sell them products that they can get some use out of rather than just generate gross.
Amen.
Because if I'm just generating gross, I got to go find new gross tomorrow. If I generate gross based on providing the needs and services that our customers needs, it's automatic tomorrow.
Amen. I have a saying, and I say this to all my F&I people. It's important to sell a car today, but it's much more important to sell a car tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And how do we do that? Everything that you just said. This has been a great interview. I got one more thing I'm going to throw at you. I'll throw you a little bit of a curveball here, so don't get mad. So you have the ability to pick anybody in the world to come sit with you for an entire day, for 12 hours at your dealership. You can work on anything you want to work on, pick their brain on anything, who's that and why.
Okay. In business, a lot of times we try to get people with the same mindset that we have. I need to get somebody that thinks the way I do. Well, I want to get someone that thinks differently than I do. I want them to challenge me and I want them to do those things. And as you said earlier, I cut my teeth on the fixed op side of the business. I now am over both sides of it, but I cut my teeth on the fixed op side of the business. A good friend of mine, Adam Marburger, cut his teeth on the front side of the business. Yes. He's going to be able to bring different things to the table than I can bring to the table. And if I'm not looking for someone that can challenge the things that I'm strong at or challenge the things that I may not be as great at, then I'm looking for the wrong person. So Adam, absolutely.
Hey, I was telling you earlier, I mean, I can fly here. It's a cheap flight to Jacksonville. And yeah, I would love to come visit your store. We'll do that.
Absolutely.
We'll do that. What's the best month in St. Augustine, by the way?
If it's on the calendar, it's the best month to be there.
It's shame on me. I've been for years. Everybody's like, this is the quaintest town. You need to visit. I haven't made it there yet, but I definitely want to go. So
for the audience, if you haven't visited Florida, I like to play on the water, not necessarily in the water, but on the water, and I can play on the water about 11 months out of the year. So there's not a bad month to come to Florida.
There you go. So thank you for your time. Promise me you'll come back and do this again. This was a wonderful conversation. Can't thank you enough. Keep doing what you're doing. And thank you for joining us on another episode of Training Camp exclusively on CBT News. Remember, if nothing changes, nothing changes. You guys, you got to take action in your store. If you continue to do what you're doing today, you're going to get the same thing tomorrow, and that's insanity. Final note here. Fights are never won in the ring. Fights are not won in the cage. They're won in training camp. We need to identify what is our training camp. What we do in silent will shine in public. Be well, friends.
Thanks for watching Training Camp with Adam Marburger, exclusively on CBT News.